Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Waiver Wire live stream. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. With me is my boy, Derek Brown. We're going to break down all the players you need to add. We're going to take your questions. And of course, if you aren't already a subscriber, well, why? I mean, really, let's talk about that. Let's get it out on the table right now. Let's talk about it. Let's have a little chat, have a powwow, and wonder why we haven't yet subscribed to Fantasy Pros. We're pushing almost 190,000 subscribers. So all of you who already have subscribed, thank you very much on behalf of all of us here working hard, providing you content. But seriously, if you want your questions answered, there's only one way to get them in the chat, and that's to be a subscriber of Fantasy Pros. Derek Brown is here. He's representing his Saints. That is nice because somebody needs to represent them, because yesterday, not so much with the representation out there in terms of points, in terms of getting the job done. Andy Dalton, he took a couple shots in that game. That's for damn sure.
Rough times, Joe. Tough times to be a Saints fan. It's a tough scene. But I have to get the gear on because, Lord help, I am not looking forward to the Friday show, and I got to sit here and listen to Ryan just drone on and on about Ravens and stuff.
Yeah.
So if I was going to don the gear, it had to be here. I can't do with the Ravens homer on camera. It's just going to be too painful.
Well, speaking of painful, Calais Campbell shot on Andy Dalton. That was pain.
Yeah.
Ouch. Poor Andy Dalton. Toughing it out. You know, he doesn't have to do this. Andy, you've got a lot of money. You could just hang it up and go just hang out. Good for you, Andy. You're still in it for the love of the game, and so are we. So let's talk about the number one waiver wire ad, our guy, El Jefe, Jeffrey Willson Jr., who may, it seems, start to take over the Miami backfield already. We thought Mostert would be the guy getting the catches. Maybe not so much. We have a matchup here coming up, Derek Brown, where he's going to take on the Cleveland Browns. Ooh-wee. We like that. The Cleveland Browns certainly don't like stopping the run. And he's going to have Houston, I believe, after that, too. Is that correct? Am I seeing that correctly? Oh, my goodness. It could be a wonderful time to be in the business of Jeffrey Willson Jr. He is rostered in roughly 50% of sleeper leagues. You need to go get this guy right now. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the upswing. I understand, Mostert, we all know the durability issues. We've been there. We've done that. We know the age. Jeffrey Wilson's had similar issues, okay? So maybe between the two of them, you figure you have one backfield, but it seems like at least this acquisition that Jeffrey Willson is at least going to get a shot at maybe the 60-40 version of that split on the 60 side. Would you agree with that estimation?
I do agree with that, Joe, and that's why we talked about it on the podcast. I was like, whatever fab you got left, you're hurting for running backs, go break the bank, go get Jeff Wilson. Because we talked about it on the podcast, like you mentioned the Browns and he gets the Texans. It's access to a possible league-winning type of schedule for a rushing attack. Now, they get the 49ers after that, so not great. Then they get the Chargers. Everybody can run on the Chargers. Heck, the Chargers make Tyler Algier look like he was an explosive back. What's Jeff Wilson going to do versus them? Then he gets the Bills, the Packers, the Patriots, and the Jets. So, it's wheels up. Like he's going to garner, even if he gets like 60% of the work. This is one of the best offenses in the NFL. He's going to get a ton of red zone work, and the touchdown upside is there. So for a player that legit his first week in this offense already outsnapped Raheem Mostert, he ran more routes than Raheem Mostert. He caught a freaking touchdown pass. Yeah, I'm a big Jeff Wilson believer. And I think that if you're not grabbing him off of waivers, I think that you can also snag him in trades because people are going to undervalue how good he is or how much he's worked down the stretch.
Now, if you missed yesterday's podcast or if you missed some of the articles, there's a lot of discussion about Carolina Panthers, specifically Terrace Marshall. We were also discussing Chuba Hubbard, players to add. A lot of uncertainty, though, with the quarterback play, what's going to go on there. So how aggressive are we being on those two players specifically when we know at any given time it could be somebody else under center, and who knows what that means for the value of guys like Marshall or Hubbard. But Hubbard, at least you knew, was in line ahead of Devonta Foreman before the injury. Now that he looks like he's coming back and trending the right direction this week, what do we do with those two Carolina Panthers that are sitting out there on the waiver wire?
I think like 5 to 10% bids, 5 to 7% is kind of in the area where I'm at with both of them. Terrace Marshall is going to be a full-time player for the rest of the season. They're going to feature him to see what they have in him. And he's been performing well, Joe, like over the last 3 weeks. And this is counting one down week. He's the wide receiver 31, and that's about where I'm estimating his value for the rest of the season. He's going to be somewhere in the wide receiver 3 conversation. He's playing well. The target share has been there. He's got a 20% target share over the last 3 weeks. And relatively the same type of conversation with Chuba Hubbard. we're looking at a Chicago-esque style offense right now. They want to run, run, run. They don't have the quarterback play that Chicago has, but we're talking about the volume is going to be there. He's going to be the 1A. And unlike Deontay Foreman, he's not script dependent. We saw Deontay Foreman get game scripted out when they were getting truck sticked last week by the Bengals. I don't think that happens to Chuba Hubbard. So as an RB3 type of running back that has RB2 upside, if anything were to happen to Foreman, so, the converse of what happened to Foreman, if he were to go out, Chuba Hubbard is a weekly RB2 is where we're ranking him.
All right, we're going to get to your questions. Just a reminder, make sure you're a subscriber of Fantasy Pros so you can ask your question. And when you do, you just might win a little something extra, including a signed Amari Cooper jersey, Cleveland Browns' own Amari Cooper autographed jersey from our good friends at pristineauction.com. Again, you need to be a subscriber. Click that little bell for the notifications till it goes ding. And then make sure you like the stream too. That's very important. And if you are a subscriber and you do all those things, you might win that Amari Cooper jersey. So get in on that because that guy's going to have a nice second half. I like that jersey too. I'm not a big fan of the wide receivers moving to the single digits. Not a fan of it. But for some reason, I like the 2.
Really?
The 2, I'm okay. I'm all right with the 2 on the Amari Cooper. I don't know why. I like it.
You don't like the single digits? Like, you don't...
No.
What's wrong with that, Joe? Like, what?
No,
I guess...
Yeah. We've established this on the earlier pod today, on the trade pod too. I didn't know what... It was some sort of a yoked thing with a number 3 in it, but I didn't know what that was. Did you know what that was?
Yeah.
You know what that is? All right, so there we go. I had no idea. Let's get to your questions here. Let's start with Kevin Williams. Start 2 in the full PPR. Amari Cooper, Isaiah McKenzie, Pickins, or Darnell Mooney, and appreciate the content. Thanks, Kevin. We appreciate you. All right, so we're going to pick 2 of these guys in the full PPR. You want to go Cooper, I assume? Yes is 1?
Yeah, Cooper is 1, and then really
Mooney,
a conversation between Mooney.
It's Pickins and Mooney.
Yeah, it's Pickens and Mooney. And I'll go Mooney right now.
All right. Well, here's one. It looks like it's from my daughter who's watching in the other room, who is a subscriber of Fantasy Pros. Now, she's not eligible to win the Amari Cooper jersey, just so you know, you can't win it. She says, Dad, you're so awesome. Aw, thanks. I love you. How much can you get for trading Justin Fields? Well, I would think right now, first of all, that's a very good question. Second of all, I think you could probably get at least a mid-range QB1 plus. Like, I'm thinking you can get Joe Burrow and probably squeeze out maybe a Terry McLaurin or a Jacoby Myers. And we're talking about some of those guys too, but I think you can, especially with some of these buys and what's going on there.
In a 1 quarterback league?
Let me tell you something, man. When you put a display on like that young man just did on Sunday, and when you've got already 3 straight games of 75 plus yards, and then you drop a 170 something, to me, that's where you can really cash in because it's a 1 quarterback league, because people covet that sort of game winning situation. And if you've already got a really good quarterback, let's say you already had, there's a chance if you're a good fantasy manager, you have a pretty good quarterback already and you picked up Fields just because you were listening to the show 2 weeks ago when he was the number 1 waiver wire ad and we added him then. Well, Derek Brown, I think now you could cash him in. I bet you can get a Joe Burrow-ish mid-range QB1 and maybe a Gabe Davis, a buy low on somebody like that. I think you could do it.
And that's definitely a situation. I mean, in our Fantasy Pros staff league, I have Jalen Hurts and then I have Justin Fields just chilling on the bench. So it's definitely something that could be happening for a lot of fantasy leagues. And for me, I wouldn't even worry about trying to get the QB back. Like if you already have another quarterback, or if you're in a league where there are decent streaming options, I would just get rid of him and go the streamer route and say, look, I want like a mid-range wide receiver 2, maybe a high end. For some teams that, if you're looking at other squads and you're saying, okay, you went wide receiver heavy early, maybe you can pluck somebody that they drafted late, like I'm searching for names here, like a Terry McLaurin or Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave you could possibly get a return on a trade.
That's a tough. I mean, you were just talking about him today on the trade pod. Because I don't think people realize he's wide receiver 16 and half PPR.
They don't.
I don't think I think the really casual football player, even the casual fantasy football manager who knows what they're doing, doesn't quite realize how consistent, how good he's been. And I think that's a guy that still is probably available and in some fashions. And the fact that, you're not going to get Michael Thomas at any point in time, I think he's definitely kick the tires on Chris Olave trade, see if you can get it done. Let's go to Steven Infranco. Is it still hold by Swift season, or should I be selling? And if so, what wide receivers could I get for him? I think you hold and hope that this week you get a little bit more, D. That's what I'm hoping, because you don't want to really sell him at this point, because it is going to be a tough sell, no pun intended, or maybe all puns intended. But what do you think about this? What would you do right now? You hold and try to build back value and then hope before the trade deadline you get out? No, you're trading now.
No, I want to get rid of him. I want to
Cents
get
on the
rid of him
dollar.
because, well, here's the thing. I don't think it's really cents on the dollar, because there are teams that are going to be out there and saying, okay, like you're talking about, Joe, the upside is there, the talent is there. For me, it's the health that scares the ever living heck out of me. I'm so scared about it. And really, this comes down to the quote that Swift even put out there himself. He said, I don't know if I'm going to be 100% for the rest of the year. That's pretty telling, where we hear mostly like positive reports out of players' mouths.
Football nonsense.
No.
I mean, they always say that no one's 100%.
How
It's
often
week
do
10.
you hear a player say, I'm not going to be healthy the rest of the year, versus they're walking on one leg basically, and they're
Okay,
like,
so
all right, I'm going to go.
realistically, what can you get for him? Can you get a
I mean,
Christian Kirk for him?
yeah, I think you can. And that's really where I would probably be shopping, in the neighborhood of like wide receiver 3 territory with upside. Like, I would trade Swift for, I think you get Darnell Mooney plus. I think you get probably Devonta Smith. I think you get, maybe you can get Terry McLaurin, because last week was a down week. Or you go after somebody like Gabe Davis, who has a league winning upside. I think that's kind of the bucket that I'm looking at trying to trade into with getting rid of Swift.
You know who I'd be acquiring everywhere right now? And I don't know if you can
Mhm.
on the cheap, but Garrett Wilson. Because if you
Oh,
look
yeah.
at Garrett Wilson's playoff schedule, and I know we all love to do this, Detroit, Jacksonville, Seattle. That works for me. There's a good potential situation there. We talked about some of these guys and some of these playoff schedules that are ahead of them. And there's definitely, another thing we need to talk about too. I'm going to take another question. Then I want to talk to you about the Colts and all that change, because we really didn't get to talk about that on the show because it happened after the show. Cold coffee. Is Terrace Marshall worth the number one waiver wire priority? Look, if you need wide receiver help, I can understand it. I wouldn't do it over, trying to think. He was your number one yesterday, right? Wide receiver? He was
El Jefe was my number one. He was
your number one wide receiver was Marshall. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah. Ashley H, Kyren or Burks rest of season in a full PPR?
Burks.
Agreed.
I am not on the Kyren Williams train. I just want to sit here and put that out there. Like, I want nothing to do with the Rams backfield. No. Eric C, I'm thinking of trading Fields to pick up a decent wide receiver. Am I crazy? Well, I mean, here's the thing. I wouldn't trade Fields, but if you can trade Fields and flip him for Devonta Adams right now, it's something you should strongly consider, because that was the peak. It's not going to happen again. You saw the peak. He's going to be very good, but there's going to be also games where he looks kind of like Jalen Hurts last year, where the points are good, but he doesn't look great. But things are definitely trending in a direction where he's a league winning type player. He's a week winning type player. Those guys don't grow on trees. I'm not rushing to get rid of him. You better get an overpay is what I'm saying. And we're getting a lot of questions about, do I trade away Justin Fields? I want to take this to the other side of the coin. Trade away what other quarterback you have. I'm totally fine with trading away if you have a Justin Herbert, Tom Brady, any of these low end Kirk Cousins, like any of these low to mid QB ones, even Joe Burrow, trade them away. Fine. I'm good with that. Like, I'm willing to ride Justin Fields for the rest of the season, because the rushing is going to give him a high weekly floor. Whatever he does on top of the passing, and he has been much better as a passer, gives him the top 5 ceiling. So we're getting a lot of questions about trading Justin Fields away. I would much rather fantasy managers go and approach this in the sense of, the QB1 you've been riding for most of the season, unless it's Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, like that cemented top 3, bye-bye. Kyler Murray, bye-bye.
Like Herbert, go. Burrow, go. Lamar. Like, if you're the Lamar team and you happen to pick up Justin Fields, I would be tealing Lamar. I would go with Fields the rest of the season.
I'll bring up another scenario. If you happen to say you drafted Russell Wilson or whoever else, and you managed to mine Justin Fields and Tua off of the waiver wire, I would have no problems dealing Tua and just riding with Justin Fields, just to give context here.
I agree. I feel you, dog. All right, let's go. Jacob Jones, would you guys trade Mixon for AJ Brown? Well, if you're going to trade Mixon, that was definitely the week to do it. I figured you would say yes to this one. Slim Large. Well, that's an oxymoron. Thoughts on Rachaad White? Derek Brown, have we seen the worm turn in the Tampa backfield away from Leonard Fournette and to Rachaad White?
I don't think so. I think Lenny's still the lead back there. I mean, Rachaad's fine. He's a high-end stash. I don't think he's anything more than that. I look at Rachaad White as being kind of like the ugly cousin to Alexander Madison.
King J, if I'm able to get Willson, should I play him over Foreman this week? Would you play El Jefe over Deonta Foreman this week?
Yes. Yes.
If Hubbard is back, yes, definitely,
Yes.
because then
Hubbard is practicing in full too. I think he's going to play Thursday night.
Like, he's probably going to play enough where it's concerning enough. And I love that matchup against Cleveland. You got to play that matchup. It's been so money every single week. Brandon Smith, thoughts on this trade? JT for Aaron Jones. Got a thing for guys with ankle injuries.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wash. I think it's fine, but I'm not like overly like.
Well, here's a perfect opportunity to talk about the Colts here. Jeff Saturday, new head coach of the Colts. I guess Andrew Luck was busy. So let's talk about it. Let's figure it out here. What do you think this means now? I mean, are you trying to just move on from everything from Michael Pittman down at this point and Jonathan Taylor? Because I am. I would be. I'm out.
I mean, good luck if you can.
This is disarray. That's what this is.
Good luck if you can. I mean, I think like if you want to make with trades like this and you just want to get out of, the Colts situation and get into the Packers or another disappointing player that you think maybe has at least some semblance of upside, then fine, do it. But you're not going to get a ton of return in most different scenarios. Because I'm worried about the Colts. I mean, right now, Joe, unless I've missed some kind of headlines, they don't even have anybody that's going to call plays for this Sunday. So
I got nothing, dude. I don't know. I have no idea.
Jim Irsay, man. Like I get selling tickets and I get the publicity, but this is so far out of left field. And this is so no slight against Jeff Saturday, but this is ridiculous, man. Like I cannot understand how you concoct this. And I get this is coming from the fermented brain of Jim Irsay, but this is still out of left field, man.
It doesn't make it. You don't have to sell tickets in the middle of the season. You've already sold them. This makes no sense to me at all. Crazy. This is a PR stunt of nonsense because people are so.
This is how you wreck a roster, a clubhouse. Really,
that is true. That is definitely true. I would
this
look.
Is how you make your team into some type of like Commanders team where nobody wants to come play for them.
And to this point, I think I'd rather have Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor rest of the season. So, Brandon, there's your answer. Now that we've talked it all out, K. Deej, hey everyone, I'm 5-4 in fifth place. Should I drop Brian Robinson or trade DeAndre Swift away?
Both. I'm like, I
wonder if you could package Swift and Robinson and go up to Dalvin Cook.
I don't think you're going to get up to Dalvin. But I would be
going to get up to Ramondre on the bye, although you're 5-4. That's probably
good.
Not. Maybe probably can't get to Pierce.
Here's an underrated move, and I think people are underselling how good he's been. What if you were to go B-Rob and Swift and get up to Miles? And I think it's a get up to Miles Sanders.
I knew you were going to say Miles Sanders. I'd rather get up to Tony Pollard. I like his role potentially in the offense down the stretch. But they're right back to back in rest of season rankings. So yeah, I think that's the range. You're hoping to just get healthy and more productive. Yeah. And if it's worth giving away those two guys to get one player in every week in your lineup that's actually good, then you do that. All facts. Trade Kenyan Drake for Tyler Algier. You want to do that move?
No, I don't want to do that.
No, I'm surprised. I thought you'd be running to do that.
Did you watch Kenyan Drake versus the Saints? I mean, I watched every minute of the game, but
I did. But I'm still surprised that
he looked like the Kenyan Drake of old. Like Joe, like he looked explosive. He looked good on the field. And right now, yes, Gus Edwards is supposed to come back. But I mean, we've seen guys come back from ACLs and deal with compensatory injuries and really, especially like hamstrings. Those can be problematic. So Cordell Patterson is back. He's the lead dog again for the Falcons. Allegier has not looked great for most of the season. Like he's looked like a slug. So no, I would much rather take Kenyan Drake.
This is from Mike Mayer, our illustrious friend here who helps us out here on the live streams. According to Tom Pelissero, Parks Frazier, quarterback's coach, will serve as the offensive play caller. So Parks Frazier is the person who's going to do that.
Sounds like a sitcom character.
Parks Frazier. It's like when Frazier and Parks and Rec did a crossover episode. You get Parks Frazier.
That would be bad, and this is gonna be bad.
That
too.
would be bad. Although I like all those people. I think David Hyde Pierce and Kelsey Grammer are great.
Oh,
Amy Poehler's
Frazier
very
is
funny.
so overrated. It's like Seinfeld. It's so overrated.
No, you just have to be really smart to appreciate it. That's all. Prodigy, good afternoon from Canada, Bald Gurus, 10-team half PPR. Is Sutton or Dillon droppable for guys like Pierce, Campbell, Hunt, Algier, any of your top waiver wire guys? I'm not running to drop AJ Dillon this week of all weeks. That's a bad move. So Sutton's the one piece where I'd rather trade Sutton along with something else and improve and then just pick up somebody off the waiver wire. But if Kareem Hunt is out there, would you just drop Dillon or Sutton for Hunt?
Nope. I mean, what has Kareem Hunt done this season? He's not getting targets.
He's been in bubble wrap because I think they were trying to trade him and then it didn't happen. So now what do you do? Now you might as well just try to win. It's not like the AFC North isn't winnable and wide open.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, my whole thing is
You're getting
do we think
Watson
that
back in 2 weeks?
Well, I know that, but do we think Deshaun Watson's going to throw to the running backs any more than Kareem Hunt has gotten a target share? I mean,
I think Deshaun Watson can do a lot more with an offense than Jacoby Brissett.
Oh,
I think he can give you a situation where you're going to have a lot more point total potential. And
so you would be dropping Sutton or Dillon for Hunt?
Look, dude, I'm over Cortland Sutton. You know that.
I
was never into Cortland Sutton as much. I like Cortland Sutton. I felt like that was more of these situations where we're going to have to find out and learn as we went. And unfortunately, the answers have been bad on all sides pretty much. BK Slider. Do I give up on Gabe Davis? No, you don't. However, I will say this. There's a growing narrative now with the concern of Josh Allen's elbow D that people say, well, now what? This is the deep guy. You're going to go with Gabe Davis now. I understand there's a lot of concern in the market. So you just have to sit and eat it, or you try. Who would you rather have rest of season, Gabe Davis or Cortland Sutton? I'll put that out to you.
I'll still take Gabe Davis. And
I would trade Gabe Davis for Garrett Wilson right now. I would do that.
I mean, I don't hate that. I mean, the other part about this is that yes, we're taking a down step from Josh Allen, but if Case Keenum was under center, it's not like he can't run an offense or deliver catchable balls. Like, yes, your ceiling is downgraded some, but if we think that Gabe Davis is still going to operate down the field, he's still a good player, and he still has that type of upside. Is it muted a little bit? Yes, but it's still a really talented player and an offense that I think just structure-wise and all the skill talent around him, Case Keenum could surprise some people.
All right, let's talk a little Discord here, too. If you can't get enough fantasy football talk, and I know that you can't, head over to our Discord. It's free to join, fantasypros.com/chat. And if you're a premium subscriber at fantasypros.com/offers, you get to go 6 free months of premium when you make a small deposit, and you get to hang out and do the touchdown call contest, which is fun. Is anyone going to knock Hart's 24K off the pedestal? 48 touchdowns. My goodness.
Running away.
On fire. But don't worry. You might say to yourself, how can I ever catch up to 48 touchdowns? No, you don't have to do that. All you have to do is go play every week, because we're giving away $25 every single week to our Fantasy Pro shop. You get a hat, you get a t-shirt for yourself, cool hoodie, all kinds of, everyone likes hoodies. It's fall, where most of us live anyway. In New Jersey, it was 75 freaking degrees all week. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm not a fan. All right, let's move on, shall we? Let's move on to Graham Ahern. Chuba or Deon Jackson this week? This is Chuba for me in a row.
I'll go Chuba.
I have zero Colts faith. Zero. James B. Would you drop Mostert for Jeffrey Wilson Jr.?
Yes.
That's an interesting one. Have to make that decision. Bike walkers. That's interesting too. Who, walk your bike, but only for a short period of time. Drop Everett for Freiermuth. You want to do that? I don't.
No.
Waller's driving me crazy. Well, that's fine. But if Waller's driving me crazy,
I can make more of a case than drop
I'd rather drop Waller for Freiermuth and just play the matchups and just move on.
I think you drop Waller for either one of those guys. I'm totally fine with it. Pick up Freiermuth.
It's over. It's done. Brock Norman. Should I trade Njoku and Christian Kirk for Kittle? I think if you need to win the next couple weeks to get into playoffs, you do, because Kirk's playoff schedule is crap. He plays the Broncos twice, I believe. Did I see that correct? It's something horrendous like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something weird. I don't know if that's what it was. It's probably not. Think of somebody else.
So his remaining season schedule is
Dallas,
Kansas City, Baltimore, Yeah, 2 of those 3 are pretty bad, but he's got a few good ones. Like, I think he's gonna have a good week against the Chiefs. No, against Baltimore, he'll have another good week because it's where you beat him in the slot, and then Lions. So, honestly, if you need to get to the playoffs and you're struggling, like you're sitting in teetering, I say you keep Kirk.
Yeah, but then you're a wasteland at tight end because you're just
Well, yeah, but
streaming
everybody's
guys.
dealing with a wasteland tight end, and
That's
George
fair.
Kittle honestly is
He's
part of
part
the
of the wasteland.
wasteland. He's part of the wasteland on most weeks.
Joe Lozano, would you trade Jamar Chase for Dameon Pierce full PPR? If I need W's now,
Depends your wide receivers.
Look, man, I think you're selling Chase short, but
I do too.
What good is Chase if he doesn't come back to a week 14 and you're outside the playoffs?
Yep.
It depends on your record more than anything, Joe. John Hoffert, seriously considering starting Fields over Hurts this week. Am I crazy? He's my number one QB this week in terms of fantasy. I've got him at number
Fields?
1. Yep.
I mean, I'm still going to play Hurts. I'll still have Hurts ranked.
Well, you need to trade one of these guys. John,
yeah, I mean,
you got to make a deal here.
This is the conversation we were talking about a second ago. Like, if you put both of them on the block, and whoever you're going to get a king's ransom for, then bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Kyle Salva, Swift or Pierce this week? 10-man full
Pierce.
PPR.
Easy Pierce.
Yeah. Andrew Erickson Truther, he's back again. Why is Joey P so beautiful? I don't know. We don't know these things. But it's nice to see Andrew's burner account.
I still think this is a Joey P burner account. This just feels like this just
look at me.
This.
I don't have enough jobs here, enough things to handle. I would have a burner account to ask myself a question.
There wasn't even asking a question. Well, technically it was. It was more of just a statement. Like, I mean,
why is Joey P so beautiful? Well, there was no punctuation at the end of it. So it's more of I would say, rhetorical kind of a question.
Yeah,
and we just don't know the answer.
We didn't have to answer it.
We just don't know. Shelbo, rank these tight ends: Kmet, Juwan Johnson, Otten, Fant. I would go Kmet, Otten, Juwan, Fant. That's my order.
I would go Otten, Kmet, Fant, Juwan.
You like the Otten, eh? You're a fan of the Otten.
If he is going to be the full-time starter, he gets Seattle this week. Yeah, I like the Otten a lot.
Fair enough. All right, let's continue on with some of your questions here. Remember, like the stream, subscribe, and then go ask a question. That's how you get in here. Okay, let's get to Chris McCoy. Should I drop Higbee for Schultz?
Yes.
Okay, you're done with Higbee. It's over.
Has anybody seen the
Rams offense? How upsetting is that, right?
Boy wonder Sean Cup McVay, or nobody right now.
Boy, it's funny. It's usually the teams that lose the Super Bowl that have the hangover. But man, man,
both of them are kind of not doing great to begin with. So
that's fair. Derek Smith, bit of a tough one for you boys. Murray or Tua rest of season PPR. I have Waddle in my lineup. Well, I'm already going Tua then because I'm in for a penny. I'm in for a pound. So trade Kyler Murray. He's an upgrade for somebody, especially with bye weeks. Jeff Rogers, Cordero Patterson, or Raheem Mostert. I'm going CPAT. Let's go.
CPAT, baby.
Physical running. Dominic Gazzetti. Hey, yo, Joey P and D Bro. I took care of that thing for you. I love you guys. PPR.
This is typed out. This is not even you just freelancing.
Which thing? The Brooklyn thing? No, the Queens thing. I took care of that thing. Oh, that's all right.
So
and he should have been, honestly, Dominic, if you're going to go full, you got to say, I love you guys. That's what you should have said. Half PPR. Should I drop Deon Jackson for Jalen Warren or Pacheco or hold on to Deon?
You could drop.
It's tricky.
Okay, so if you need somebody to start
here,
if you need somebody to start as a flex and you're leaning on like I need a player to play right now or this week and JT is still out, I don't hate holding on to Deon. Now, if you're just looking for a stash and the highest upside possible, then you go with Warren or Pacheco. I do lean Pacheco over Warren. Well, no, I'm going to flip that because if Warren were to get the backfield, I think they would give him the whole backfield.
That's why I think I'm going Warren here.
Yeah.
I
mean, you know my love for Jaron Warren knows no bounds. So,
I know.
Talk
and Jalen Warren too. Matt Roberto Leo Stanley. This guy's got 4 first names. It's unbelievable. My father always said, don't trust anybody with 2 first names. Those people like just Leo Stanley. Got to watch those people. This guy's got 4 first names. That's impressive. Help an Englishman needing. Well, that's why, because he's English. So he is, if there was a third or a fourth at the end of this, like Matt Roberto Leo Stanley the 4th, that'd be fantastic. Help an Englishman out. Burn a number 1 waiver wire pick on Wan'Dale Robinson or Treylon Burks. I know we're getting kind of late in the game here on the waiver wire, but
I
none
would
of
go
these guys really
Wan'Dale.
feel like, I mean, Wan'Dale if I had to, but do you want to just
Wan'Dale.
save the number one?
Yeah, I think that's in the range of outcomes too. Like I think it's worthy. Like I'm not telling you have to burn a number one pick for either one of these guys. So I'm a
If you
little bit
need a
disappointed. You
wide
started with
receiver.
the English accent, Joe, and then you
No, I
just
didn't even do
tapered
it.
off and left it in the middle of it.
I actually didn't start with. I was just saying the name in it, but I could do this next
Mhm.
one.
I
Christopher
think you did it.
Cadigan would like to
Yes,
know:
for
half PPR rest of season, Jamal Williams or Deonta Foreman? Which one would you prefer?
Jamal.
Excellent. Very good. Sarah Mullenbach is OBJ we're stashing this week. In a deep league, I get it. If you're a
Yeah.
team that's got 6 wins, I get it. But if you're fighting for your life, I just don't know how. He hasn't signed yet. The only way he helps you immediately is if he signs with a team like the Rams, where he knows the playbook and he's just going to go right back.
And I haven't even looked if does he have the IR designation. If he does that, then yeah, if you don't have anybody in the IR spot, then do that. That's fine.
Well, I don't think he can have the IR. You can't have an IR designation because you're not on a team.
Yeah, it's fair.
You're not signed. Technically, he's a free agent, so he doesn't have it unless you're in some wackadoo league that lets you do whatever you want and put guys on the IR, and some of those exist. Some of those, there's also leagues where they play the championship in week 18 because they hate themselves, and they do this for 6 months, and they commit to all of this only to have nobody important playing in week 18. Why do you do these things? Don't do this.
I think we were going to get like a week 18 rant right now, but here we are.
Well, if the rant fits. Let's go to Ryan R. Trade Curtis Samuel or Evan Ingram for Gabe Davis. Well, Evan Ingram, if you could pull it off. If not, Curtis Samuel is just as good.
I'd trade either one of them for Gabe Davis.
Heck, I might do both. Kim F. Trade Najee or Jeffrey Wilson. Wow. Oof. Trade Najee for Jeff Wilson Jr. That's from Kim F. You ready to do that one?
I don't hate that move, but I think you could probably get LFA plus.
I would agree. That's oof.
The savage move would be to trade Najee for El Jefe and then pick up Jalen Warren off of waivers.
Yeah. Or pick up Jalen Warren first. Make sure you have him.
Yeah.
That's what you do first. Then make that trade. Devin F. Cut or try to trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If so, for who? I mean, you can cut him.
You can cut him. I mean, you're not going to get anything back for him.
I don't think you get anything back for him unless somebody's desperate for RBs or
unless you're going to ahead. The team.
Well, look, think about it. If there's some team in your league that's got a bunch of RBs on bye week 14, you could sell that.
Or the team that has Pacheco stashed. You go to that team.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Let's go to no. Darnell Mooney or Deontay Johnson is my wide receiver 3 in the non-PPR league.
Mooney.
It's so nice to see Chris interacting with his wife, by the way, backstage here at the show. See, Chris is having nice moments here. He says, "Hi, honey. Welcome home. It's a hard day at work." See, our producer, Chris, multitasking. See?
Family man.
They say men can't multitask. Look at Chris. Yep. He's the one. He's the one that can do it. Let's go to Oscar Soto. Sit 1. Josh Jacobs, Jalen Waddle, Hopkins, or Adams. Whoa, wow. None. I'm not sitting any of these guys. What is it, a 4-team league?
None?
No, you can't sit any of these guys. All these guys have to be in your lineup, Oscar.
I mean,
all of them.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember who the Cardinals have this week.
But what are we like? What do you have? Justin Jefferson too, or Cooper Kupp?
I know.
Like, what else?
I think out of all of those, if you're looking at one of I think your conversation is really between Hopkins and Adams.
Is it?
Honest. I think
it's not
so.
about Jacobs. I mean, if it's a PPR, I'm
Colts,
playing all the wide receivers.
The Colts have been a run funnel, man, and Stephon Gilmore could easily shadow Devonta Adams. Hopkins could get Ramsey. I believe in Hopkins winning the battle more than, and a lot of this is I think Kyler's playing better football than Derek Carr. Derek Carr has been terrible all year.
I believe in you, Derek Brown. That's what I believe in.
Oh,
you know what else I believe in? My Playbook. That's right. The greatest suite of tools in the history of the universe to help you with all your fantasy teams. Download it for free over on the Google machine, right? On the Android store, the Apple store, all the stores. They have My Playbook everywhere. Get it for free or go to fantasypros.com/myplaybook. Sync your leagues for free. And if you feel like upgrading and you use all those premium tools, again, fantasypros.com/offers. Go do that. Then you get all the trade analyzer, trade finder, waiver assistant, autopilot, everything, including access to Discord. So go over and check out My Playbook. And plus, your customized news for all of your teams. Not to mention, you could set all your lineups in one spot on my playbook. You got a Yahoo League, got an ESPN League, you got a league over on Sleeper, all of it right here. You can do it in one spot on my playbook. Save yourself some time. My goodness. All right, let's get to Oliver Colburn. I need a wide receiver 1. Who can I get from Miles Sanders? Well, that's a tricky one. Miles Sanders for a wide receiver 1. Looking rest of season, these are the names at the bottom tier. Do you think you could pull off Amon-Ra St. Brown right now? I think you might.
You could.
It's been a bad stretch here.
There's a few guys in here. The first name that we were talking about earlier, I think that is easy pickings, is go get Chris Olave. And I've got a wide receiver 13 my rest of the season ranks. But the tier that I think you're living in right now is Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Chris Olave, Chris Godwin, kind of in that range.
Yeah, Godwin specifically too, playoff schedule. Cincinnati, Arizona, Carolina. Ooh, the lolly. That's good.
I still think the Bucks can turn it around. It's crazy.
We're going to be sitting here in February, and they're going to be out. They're going to be at home, and Tom Brady's going to be on a golf course somewhere, and be like, I think the Bucks can turn it around. I mean,
the thing about it is, and I keep looking through the numbers every week on the primer, Joe, is that like Tom Brady's not playing bad football. He's not playing bad football. His receivers, it's not converting on the field though.
Nothing is working for the Bucks.
Nope.
Luis Rivera, half PPR. Should I drop Cordero Patterson for Brian Robinson?
No.
Elias G, Tony or Taysom Hill at the flex?
Woof. I'm gonna go Taysom.
You don't know yet what Tony. I mean, two touches of the football.
I would rather take the
cheap run in,
the unrealized upside, the dice roll that is Taysom Hill over
unrealized upside. Second cup, I have Tua and Murray. Should I trade Kyler for Juju? Juju, that's it. That was the guy who's got Denver twice towards the end of the year. I knew I was going to remember who it was.
You should aim higher than Juju. Like
he's got Denver, Houston, Seattle, Denver to end of the season.
I would rather you go try to, even if you have to add a little something, try to go get like Amari Cooper.
Rest of the next couple matchups though: Jacksonville, Chargers, Rams, Cincinnati.
For who's this? Cooper?
For Juju.
Oh, for Juju.
It gets ugly, but it gets you in the playoffs, I think. So you got to look at what you need second cup.
Well,
like,
I'm looking at Amari Cooper. He gets Dolphins this week, so Cooper. Yay. Buffalo, Bucks, then he gets Texans, the Bengals, Ravens, and Saints, Commanders. So not bad. Yeah. Not great, but not bad.
I'd rather have Cooper with Deshaun Watson. Yeah. That's what I'd rather have. All right, Abram King, would you trade Palmer for Godwin or Miles? And I'm sorry, would you trade Palmer and Godwin for Miles Sanders?
No,
that's a lot to give up.
No, I think you're giving up too much for Miles Sanders.
Mitchell B, would you guys start Fields over Kyler? Yes,
that's what my ranks say.
That's what my ranks say. I would start Fields over everybody this week.
I was fixing to say you have him at QB1, so
Can we have a meter? I was fixing to say meter. I'd like to get that graphic made up because that's definitely, we're up to like, I think in the mid 70s now. They were in week 10. I'm fixing to say. I'm going to say that tonight at dinner and see what my kids say because I want to see like their reactions. They're like, what are you saying? I can't get away with it.
I love the fact that we've done so many shows together. My Southern drawl is wearing off for you. I can't wait until we get on one of these shows.
I wish my New York
comes out of your mouth. I'm waiting for it.
I am not above a y'all. Look, our country mouse, city mouse routine here on the shows is legendary. We're going to keep this going for all eternity. I love it. It's my favorite thing. Let's see. Cards in the attic. Does Abdullah or Blackshear have value?
Nope.
Agreed.
Dem 7 like a deep dynasty, and still then no.
Lamar versus Fields rest of season. Worried about the schedule. I'm going Fields.
I have Fields at QB5 this week. The only quarterbacks that are ranked over Fields this week are Josh Allen, assuming he plays, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Tua. End of list.
He's playing the Lions this week.
He's going to destroy them. It's going to be beautiful.
He's playing the Lions at home.
Yep.
And the Lions are coming off an actual victory where they're still yay and they're hanging out, and Dan Campbell took everybody for pizza out after the game. It's going to get ugly. He's the QB1 this week. That's that's going to be my bold prediction. Here we go. Is that a bold prediction? Does that count, Mike Mayer? Somebody asked Mike Mayer. He's in
I
charge of the
don't
bold
I don't
predictions.
know. I don't know if
How did
that's
he
bold
get in charge
enough.
of the bold predictions too? He's such a mellow, low-key guy. And Mike Mayer is like in charge of the bold predictions. He's so even keel. I don't know how that happened.
Well, it's probably a better thing though, that versus like somebody like me being in charge of the bold
Oh
predictions.
no,
I'm
they
like,
won't let you.
you didn't mention
No.
a wide receiver 5 that's currently
No.
sitting on the bench. Why?
They-
This is not bold enough.
They keep you far away from that. Adam B got offered Tyler Boyd for Swift half PPR. I don't think that's enough. I don't. Because in 3 weeks that could turn to dust and Swift might still be a good flex play.
Like they're giving away Boyd or they're giving away Swift. I always read these wrong.
Well, they got offered Boyd for their DeAndre Swift. I'm not doing that.
No.
Thank you. I appreciate your offer.
It's because Chase is still looming. Like if he makes the return, Boyd is back to wide receiver 3-4 territory.
Get a load of this one. Knights 21. Trade Justin Jefferson for Jacobs in a non-PPR.
No.
No.
Don't do that.
Ryan Curley, Hardman, Wan'Dale, or Marshall. How would you prioritize the waiver wire?
Marshall, Wan'Dale, and then Hardman. And I would not. Hardman's not even on my radar to pick up. I don't. And this comes down to. I understand. I get it.
I said nothing. I didn't even say anything.
I get it. But I know. I can feel the comments. They're gonna say, but the touchdowns and the Chiefs and the touchdowns and the touchdowns. He's not a full-time player.
Right there in the chat. It says, "Oh, the touchdowns. Oh, the Chiefs." It's actually right here. Right on this. Yeah, I see it right over there. Yeah.
No, I can't. I can't do that. He's not a full-time player in this offense. And I don't want wide receivers running routes on like 50, 60% of dropbacks. That's too volatile. You're playing with fire.
Andrew P. I have Josh Allen, but need RB depth. Pick up Fields or Jeff Wilson.
Fields. You need
Fields
quarterback
is on the waiver
depth.
wire? You need
quarterback depth.
I
mean, if Allen goes out, good luck. You need quarterback depth. I disagree.
Yeah, pick up both. I mean, honestly, that's what you should be doing. Saeed Hill, Fields or Hurts rest of season. I did this already. Hurts. He says Hurts. I say Fields. Because I think towards the end there, if they have a lot of, Oh,
are you going with they sit Jalen Hurts?
I'm going with if they're on cruise control by the end of this thing.
Okay. Well, hold on.
I don't think there's a perfect season ahead.
You give your narrative, and then I'm going to give mine. Then.
Well, look, before I start spitting, y'all, let's take a look here. Washington, that should be a win in theory. Indianapolis, that should be whoever shows up from Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. Green Bay should be a win. Tennessee, that's going to be the rough one. If I'm looking for the upset, it's Tennessee. Mm. Tennessee likes to drag you down to their level and play in the muck. You know that. I know that. They almost did it to the Chiefs.
They're going to brick wall Derrick Henry and force him to try to pass.
They can, but it doesn't mean it's still not going to be one of these 16-13 kind of games that could go either way at the end. You know it, and I know it. Mike Vrabel's a good head coach, and he's going to get
everybody says, I don't want to tackle Derrick Henry. Jordan Davis says, me. If
that's
he's
fine.
Back,
that's fine. If he's back, he'll say that once until Derrick Henry runs him over. Okay, Derrick Henry ain't like a lot of the other guys that he's not like tackling.
Have you
Deon
seen
Jackson.
any pictures of Jordan Davis? That dude's a mountain.
I watched him play at Georgia. He's phenomenal. But he ain't tackled anybody the size of Derrick Henry yet. So I'm just saying.
It's fair.
He's big and strong. Okay, so look, I say Tennessee is possibly the L. The Giants, they probably beat them. They play the Bears. That might be a trickier game than people realize because it's in Chicago. Then they go to Dallas, then New Orleans and the Giants. I mean, there's a chance they're looking at perfection here.
And that's exactly where I'm going. If they are staring an undefeated season in the eyes, they are not sitting Jalen Hurts. And that comes down to like the last few weeks. Like, I'm not even talking the last game of the season. If they are staring down possible undefeated season, do you think if the entire city of Philadelphia would riot, Joe?
I'm not saying they're going to sit him. I'm saying that there's two ways to look at this. They drop a game at some point in time, and it just makes no sense to play him. And then you're going to, just try to wean off, and you're going to scale back because some of these games are very winnable. Right. But if they don't, then the other thing creeps in, where the perfect season nonsense creeps in. And that's a lot. I watched what it did to Tom Brady, who's the GOAT. And I watched how that team kind of sputtered into the playoffs and then through the playoffs and then lost to stupid Eli Manning, Hall of Famer, Eli Manning. So I'm just putting that out there. I love Eli Manning, by the way. He's amazing. Derek Brown has no respect for Eli Manning. I have all of it. But I'm just saying.
I like him on TV. I like
A
his
lot of the
timing
questions
there.
here about Fields rank rest of season. Now, I've got Fields as QB4. I have him right next to Tua and Lamar because I just think the rushing equity is so great. It's crazy not to put him there.
I've got him at QB5, and the only guys that I
Okay, so
have
we're
above
basically the
him are
same.
Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. And here's the surprise guy, and it's Tua.
Jeez.
I've got Tua at QB4.
I've got him at 5 because I'm
Okay.
still waiting for the a little Tua regression here from this figure things out.
Tua's
Well, look,
been
it might never
so
happen. It might
good.
never happen.
No,
Let's
it's
get
not
to a
gonna
couple
happen.
more of these questions here. Cliff Heckman, league mates picking on me for putting Brady on waiver for Fields. Well, they ain't picking on you anymore, are they, Cliff? I think that worked
No, and
out.
if they're picking on you,
But we
they're
said
looking at
it
the wrong
last week.
details. You
I think
should
we
be.
said on the show
Yeah.
we would pick up
Mhm.
Fields for Brady right now. I mean, there's
Oh,
no
we
reason
said that
not to.
like 2 weeks
Like
ago,
2 weeks
Joe.
ago.
Yeah,
So 2 weeks
people
ago.
are behind.
Brandon M, should I trade Dalvin or Kamara for AJ Brown? Dalvin, if you could, I think.
I'm gonna go Camaro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-loathing Saints fan here. All right. Michael, who is a wide receiver I can get from Mixon in an 8-team league?
Ooh, it said 8.
8.
Let me see. Let me look at rest of the season here.
I mean,
For
Mixon should get you
Mixon should get you in the upper wide receiver
yeah.
one range, like
CeeDee
Tyreek
Lamb,
Hill.
Jalen Waddle, Hopkins.
I think you should be living in the good area of AJ Brown, Hill, Hopkins, or Adams, somewhere in that range.
You know, sad state of affairs because you look at that wide receiver rest of season and you don't see Chase up there at the top. There's no Michael Thomas to be seen. There's no Mike Williams to be seen. Cortland Sutton didn't live up to the hype. Wide receiver is awful thin. And you know what? We keep coming back to the same thing, and people don't want to realize this, and it's something we talked about in the offseason. It's time to start looking at some of those elite quarterbacks early because I guarantee you the teams that had Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they're doing okay. They're somehow getting by. And I'm not saying you take them in the first round or the second round, but when you get to the third and the fourth, it's time to start thinking about it because you can set them and forget it, and they win you weeks.
Well, on the other side of the coin is if you're not going to go that route, you have to get a guy with rushing upside. We've seen too many guys come out of the woodwork, whether it was like the Trey Lance experience whenever he was a starter, Jalen Hurts, now Justin Fields.
Look, it's a shame we didn't get to see Lance get a little time there because he really didn't. That first game was such a wash with the rain. And
if you're going to wait, they have to have rushing upside because the chances of any of those late round guys even sniffing the top 12 is so astronomically hard because they'd have to have like massive touchdown outlier performances that it's not going to happen. So pick somebody with legs if you're waiting.
Real quick, everybody, like the stream, subscribe to Fantasy Pros, drop a comment right now if you can, so you can enter to win the Amari Cooper Cleveland Browns autographed jersey from our friends at Pristine Auction. We're giving that away on our YouTube channel. Comment below. That's it. That's all you got to do. Turn the bell for the notifications till it goes ding so you know if you're the winner. And every time a new piece of content drops here over at Fantasy Pros, that Amari Cooper jersey can be yours. Let's do a couple more questions here. Big Aaron, trade Devonta Smith for Najee Harris. You want to do that?
Nope. I want Smitty.
Texas Tech, trade Mixon and Gabe Davis for Chubb.
Yes, I would do that.
Do it. I want to thank Mike Mayer for helping us out. I want to thank, of course, our good pal Chris, multitasking all the way.
Beautiful human.
Chris can go relax. Like the stream for Chris, everybody.
Please.
He's out here. He is literally editing shows at the same time. The live streams running at the same time. I think he's got a pie he's making as well. He's doing a lot of things. Okay.
Not all heroes wear capes, Joe. I'm just gonna say that.
Some wear those wool hats like Chris does.
Yeah, beanies, and it looks like flannel. The heroes wear flannel.
Beanies,
or maybe it's not flannel. It's just stripes.
It's like a rugby hoodie kind of thing. He's very Abercrombie and Fitch today. He's very kind of like he should be holding up an oar in front of a beach with a boat behind him with a bunch of really attractive other friends. I think that's
the
what
shirt came with abs.
Yeah, there you go. Mine didn't. I wish it did.
Mine didn't. Mine sadly didn't.
That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Derek Brown, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.